Welcome to the No Podcast with me, Nikki Spo. What is up, truth speakers and light seekers? You are listening to the No, where it's not about knowing everything, it's about knowing ourselves. And at the very least, figuring out which questions to ask ourselves. So it's about 7 minutes before my 36th birthday, and I'm recording from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And if you're following along on IG, you might have seen that I celebrated my birthday last week with a huge birthday party. And now I get to have this incredible trip to Jackson Hole with my kiddos for some spring skiing. Well, last year I went on a girls' trip to Jackson Hole for my 35th birthday, and it was magical, and this is seriously becoming my favorite place to ski. And last year, I dropped an episode called Big Nik Energy. You see what I did there? Not the BDE, but the BNE, and I gotta say that was only the beginning of the BNE. We just keep channeling all of the largeness and in chargeness over here, and it got me thinking about all the ways in which we celebrate ourselves or do not. I think from early on, especially as women, we have been taught to downplay ourselves. I mean, on one end, as girls in college, we were granted unspoken permission to celebrate our birthdays for an entire month as an excuse to party all month long. But grown-up life, mom life, we're oftentimes the caretakers of the home, and I think this message has really been handed down from generation to generation. I think across the board, women tend to be the sex that does most of the holiday or birthday shopping for a household. We organize the celebrations, we prep for the holidays, for hosting, and when we are celebrated, well, we are lucky with anything we get, if we get celebrated at all. So today I want to talk about the ways in which we can celebrate ourselves and why it's so important that we do, with or without you, with or without you. I'm going to celebrate me, and here is why you should celebrate you too. Let's go. So when was the last time that you celebrated yourself? Was it your birthday, an anniversary, a graduation, a wedding? First of all, let's not forget that these traditional occasions aren't the only moments worth celebrating. We want to keep in mind our friends and selves who are celebrating starting a new business, purchasing their first home, leaving a relationship that made them unhappy, getting a promotion at work, or leaving a job that they were miserable at. There are seriously so many moments worth celebrating in life. Shit. Sometimes I celebrate getting dressed for the day if that day is particularly of the struggle bus variety. Here's the thing. We should be celebrating ourselves, no matter who is or who isn't in our corner. And if you feel like you can't or you don't know how, for whatever reason, I don't think you're alone. I think lots of girls and women are taught not to brag about their accomplishments or themselves. And I think this comes with a sense of fear of looking conceited or boastful. Honestly, I actually said those words at my birthday party last week during my little thank you speech.
I'm thankful that you're all here to celebrate me because this is a very narcissistic thing for me to do here. Huge birthday party and like make it all about me, but I'm really excited.
You deserve it. I said, this was probably a pretty narcissistic thing for me to do, throw myself this big old birthday party to celebrate myself. But here's the thing. I wasn't just celebrating the fact that I was born. I was celebrating and continue to celebrate the hard things that I've overcome. I had a rough 35th year of my life, and I know in my soul that my life is taking a turn. Something magical is brewing, and I finally have the courage to believe it and step into it. That's one of my many reasons to celebrate myself. But more on this fear. I'm not here to compare whether or not our male friends celebrate their accomplishments differently, and I'm not going to pretend to know how they feel about it as if they is even valid because everybody is different and has their own set of preferences. But as a woman, because I am a woman, and knowing how I have felt in the past, the messaging I often received was that it's boastful, arrogant, self-centered to celebrate myself or even post about my accomplishments. I think it's time that we ditch that attitude altogether. And if it upsets some people, then newsflash, baby cakes, those aren't our people. The people who love you will want to celebrate you. So my first piece of advice here is to start small. Like, why wait for your birthday or promotion? Small achievements lead to big achievements. So you may not go on and throw yourself a huge pachanga for starting a new job, especially if funds are tight, but there are so many small celebrations that can take place for you. What about your financial goals? You don't have to wait until you put a down payment on a house to celebrate. How about your saving goals along the way? even if it's by yourself in the comfort of your own home or shared apartment. The point is, it's ceremonial, no matter who is watching. I want you to get in the habit of celebrating yourself, honoring yourself, recognizing your progress. This can be as simple as writing in your journal and having a genuinely happy, celebratory attitude towards yourself. If it helps, talk to yourself as if you are someone else. What would you say to your bestie? Write to yourself as you would write to her or him, because guess what? You are your own bestie, and you should treat yourself as such with just as much, if not more, love, kindness, joy, and excitement. My favorite way to celebrate my achievements, especially the smaller, like on the way ones, are by journaling. Literally, nothing is too small. It's all worth writing down. I mentioned a while ago that in my first year of sobriety, I journaled literally every single day, every day, sometimes twice a day, to help with the anxiety, but also to remember that every day I stayed sober was a huge accomplishment. And the best thing about that was that at the end of the year, I saw that all that daily progress really became an enormous mindset shift. And it was so, so, so powerful. Another fun way to celebrate anything really is to make a celebration playlist. Do you go through musical phases? Because I do. I may have some like consistent staples that stick around always, but I definitely go through genre stages, and then she makes the playlist. And every time I listen to a playlist from that time in my life where I overcame something difficult or I was working toward something that was important to me, that playlist reminds me of how strong and badass I have been and how I can channel and tap into that energy whenever I want. Okay? Some other ideas include sending yourself flowers. I love doing this. Write yourself a card. Receiving this one, I feel like this is so important. Receiving compliments instead of downplaying yourself. In case this is very foreign to you, this sounds as simple as thank you so much. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to say I worked really hard. You don't have to, you just say thank you. Thank you so much. It means so much to me. Okay? Other ideas include take a little break, rest and rejuvenate. How about investing in yourself? You want to celebrate something? Do you have a 401k through your company? Put some money in that. Treat yourself, treat your savings account. Other things we can do, get dressed up and just for you. Doesn't matter who's looking. Get dressed up. Host a dinner. Create a new set of goals and have fun with it. Make a vision board. I love vision boards. Write down all the things you are grateful for. So those are some ideas, but what's up with our reluctance? That's like really where I want to focus. I think there's a lot that goes into this, starting with whatever our family of origins programmed us into believing about celebrating ourselves. I think it's very old school to not celebrate ourselves. The message was that it lacks humility, right? And that's part of what I believe plays into imposter syndrome. The idea that we don't think that we deserve to be at the top of whatever hill or mountain we are climbing or having a seat at the table. Here's the thing. It's about having an attitude of abundance. The more you celebrate life, the more life will celebrate you. And I don't mean people necessarily, and I'll get into that, why you don't actually need anyone else to celebrate you, as nice as it may be. But I'm talking about the energy and practice of abundance in your life. What you look for, you will find. I did a practice a few years back. I can't remember the name of the book that prompted this, and I'll have a look in my home library and I'll add it to the show notes later. So come back and check that out. But it encouraged me to pick a thing, anything, but to be specific about that thing, and then see how many of that thing you notice in a day. So I picked yellow butterflies. Another day I picked green cars. Another day I picked purple flowers. And then on each of those occasions, I noticed way more of those things than I might otherwise have noticed. And it's not that they weren't there before. No, they were very likely fluttering, driving, and growing around. The thing that had shifted was me and my awareness. So the same can be done for celebration. Look for things to celebrate. And you don't have to do this solely for yourself. You can do it for other people in your life too. And it will likely make you a better, more compassionate friend or partner. I love having my girl crew of women that just like are so diehard supportive of me and that I can reciprocate that. And I just know that us as women cheering each other on makes all the difference. So it's not just about celebrating yourself, but like be that cheerleader for other women in your life. What you celebrate in life will celebrate you. So a much needed note about celebrating yourself. You can do it by yourself. Sure, it's nice to have other people celebrate you, but I want you to love yourself so much that you know you are worth celebrating regardless of what anyone has to say about it and regardless of whether or not you are even acknowledged. Here's the thing, refusing to celebrate yourself comes from a scarcity mindset. The message sounds like, I don't have enough to celebrate myself yet. Or in my case, I'm turning 36. It's not a big birthday. Maybe I shouldn't celebrate. Not enough, not enough, not enough, not enough reason. Scarcity, lack, scarcity, lack, scarcity, lack. Here's the thing. My life is worth celebrating at any age, just like yours is, for any reason, for any occasion. And since I am the CEO boss babe of my own life, I get to dictate when, how, and with whom I celebrate. And you, my friends, can do the same. I try not to live too much in the past or in the future, but I do like to consider what my future self wants to feel like. Do I want to be miserable and sad and uninspired or unimpressed or broke or feeling unfulfilled or depressed or unhealthy? Likely not. Definitely not. One of my closest friends, Danielle Kaufman, always used to tell me, act how you want to feel. And I've always taken that with me. And it's different than fake it till you make it because we don't have to fake things anymore. I think as a society of women, we don't have to fake things anymore. But I do think there's something to be said about acting how I want to feel. Do I want to be happy? Can I act happy? Do I want to be healthy? How do I act healthy? And by act, I don't mean pretend. I mean the verb, like act it out. Like what are the action steps we take to do those things or be those things? Be it even when it's hard. Hell, especially when it's hard. Find the things to celebrate. Many of you know, I want to keep in mind that self-celebration can be your secret weapon for accepting, encouraging, and empowering yourself in this moment for who you are today and all that you've overcome. And I want to take a moment to also consider what self-celebration is not, because I think that this is really important too. What it is not intentional, attention-seeking rooted in conceit. It is not proving you are better than someone else. It is not bragging. It is not being narcissistic, arrogant, or mean. It is not an excuse to do nothing or not try. It is not proving your worth to anyone else. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone else. It is not falsely celebrating. This could look like drinking a bottle of wine every night because you hate your job, or in my past cases, there was always a reason to celebrate with a bottle of wine or to mope with a bottle of wine. The idea of celebrating yourself is not a pass to brag. What it is an act of self-love. It means becoming deeply connected to our own lives, filling our own cups so that we can show up better in the world. And sometimes, you guys, we need to be in charge of that. We don't have to wait around for someone else to throw us a surprise party or send us the congratulation flowers. And as nice as those things are and how special your loved ones may be, there's nothing that can replace self-love. Because when you have real self-love, you don't require others to determine your worth or value or lovability. When you have real self-love, everything else is a bonus. And when you have real self-love, all of the right things that are for you begin to fall into place. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Find something to celebrate for yourself today, this week, this month, not just this year. Lean into yourself and remember that what you breathe life into will breathe life right back into you. So be intentional about what you look for. Be intentional about what you want to find, because what you want is out there for you. That's all for today, my loves. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend who needs to be celebrated. Spread the love and be the light. Love you guys. Thank you so much for listening to The Know. If you loved this episode, go ahead and share it with a friend. Words are so powerful, and someone may need to hear what we covered today. And if you really loved this episode, please take a moment to rate the show and leave a review. Your comments are so important and valued, and they give other listeners insight on what to expect on The Know. You can connect with me personally via Instagram at Nikki Spo and The Know with Nikki Spo. My hope for you today is that you are fearless in looking inward so that you can be your highest, most authentic self and go after the life of your dreams.